Okay, hi everybody. I'm Christopher Clark. Once again, streaming for the Amazing Art Expo, um, doing a Lord of the Rings piece. I'm gonna continue what I've been working on for the last couple days, um, making sure the stream is connected here. Um, Probably won't be able to finish it necessarily today because there's gonna have to be some drying time and some more layery, atmospheric stuff. But I can get pretty far, pretty close, like 99% close to being done today. I'm doing a water for the most part, so I'm going to lift that up a little bit. There we go, just adjusting that. Okay. And might have to go higher, depends on what I'm doing. I'm just doing all this stuff down here. Okay. Now with waters, basically a mirror, green, purple. Definitely gonna need more of some of these colors here. Let's start here. That's going to be darker as I get down there. I'm going to try to use a lot of paint. That's thick and transparent. It's a little too green still. Yeah, I'm probably only going to do about 2 hours today, just because that's about all I'll need to get to a place again where I'll need to stop, and I've got somewhere to be. So that's pretty good. Pile of that. I'm gonna make a few piles of different colors here, basically. Gonna need a dark green. And my phone is telling me that I'm streaming. Yeah, I need a nice dark green for underneath those boats. That's probably way too dark. I don't want it to be black. Little lighter. It's a little too green also. I just don't want it to be too saturated. A little more grayed out. A little more blue there. And just a touch lighter. I will have a really dark that I can come in here and add more later. Some accents and stuff. And then of course the foreground. I have to leave room for value for the foreground, which will be the darkest part of the whole painting. So yeah, that's a good another consideration here. That's pretty good. I forgot to get my tunes going. Catalina, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Yeah, I think you were you were watching me the other day, so thanks for tuning in again. This should be a fun one with getting some water and reflections and stuff going. Gonna get my Lord of the Rings soundtrack playing again. There we go. And incidentally, anybody who's watching, you can pre-order prints of this piece. Just click on the link in your screen there, or wherever you're watching, and you can pre-order this one. All of our Lord of the Rings pieces are 25% off. Also, I have 8 other Lord of the Rings paintings other than this one. This is my 9th, and next week is going to be the 10th piece that I've done for Lord of the Rings. So please check out our site. There's a link there, and take home this print if you'd like. We also have a Patreon. If you like our work and you want to subscribe to the gallery and support our work there, please check out our Patreon. And we made a pact. Every time we get a new patron, I'm going to blow the horn of Gondor. That's a silly thing we started doing just to try it out. I don't have an actual horn of Gondor. I have a rubber tube that I bought to cut apart and make some painting tools with. So I'm using that instead, which is kind of dorky, but it's kind of funny anyway. And if people like it enough, then I'll actually buy a real horn of Gondor, like on Etsy or whatever, that somebody's made, and I'll blow it every time we get a new patron. So if you subscribe, comment in there so that we know. And I will give you a blast. Just getting this a little darker, nice and purple. Yeah, good. Let's put this. I need some room for some darker stuff later. I'm gonna need some lights. Yeah, I'm kind of setting up my colors now. Gonna need some of that light yellowish kind of green, which again, usually the lights you want more opaque, but I need it to sort of match the consistency of this other paint that I got going on. And then I need sort of this transition color green. Running out of room already. And there could be some room for some other random colors in there, oranges and stuff. Oh, and if you join, I think we got a couple patrons yesterday that I didn't know about. So if it was you, please comment, and I'll blow the horn of Gondor for you. Oh, Kathy, this is just beautiful. Always love your work. Awesome. One of your signed prints is Grayson Holloway. Cool. Well, thanks for watching, Kathy, and thanks for being a fan of my work. It's literally my life's work, so I'm glad you appreciate it. Which piece do you have? Just curious. Okay, let's try this out. I'm definitely going to need to mix more later. And then I got, yeah, this water is like a mirror. There's a tree right there. Gnarly roots and stuff. It's going to have some glowy leaves. Hi, Dazia. So beautiful. Cool. Oh, nice. You have the Aragorn Arwen piece. Yeah, that's a beautiful piece. I love the colors in that one. That's got those turquoises and blues and um, yeah, the same sort of, you know, dark, mysterious, foresty kind of colors. I'm definitely a big fan of those. And what we've discovered, people really love turquoise also. Um, the pieces that I've done that have that turquoisey quality to it, people just seem to be really drawn to, you know. My Cheshire Woods piece, definitely that one. Okay, there's going to be a little wake behind them. I want this to be really glassy though, and transparent. I can sort of smudge it around once I get it started. That's why I want a lot of paint on here, so I have room to move it around. And again, I also need a light to contrast against the dark of this extreme foreground I'm going to be adding. So yeah, if you guys like my work, please follow me here on whatever streaming service you're watching. And I've been doing these videos a lot. Um, you know, the weekends we've been doing this particular Lord of the Rings series. Last couple weeks, we got one more week next week. I'm doing Sam carrying Frodo. That'll be a fun piece. And then in general, I've been streaming a lot. Ever since the quarantine started, we've been needing a way to connect with our customers. So that's kind of where this started from. Was this my... Yeah, that's this color here, the not dark yet color. Yeah, I need to come in here a little further. I think this could be a little lighter. Maybe I'll take half of that. I'm going to sort of paint around Boromir's, paint over it. Boromir's ore. I don't want this to look painted around. I can add the ore back later. And then this tree here, gnarly old tree coming out. Gnarly. I grew up in Southern California where surfers actually talk like that. Dude, the waves were epic, bro. Slowly filling this stuff in. Basically almost giving myself some paint to smush around later. Alright, this was going to be my light brush. It's getting darker already. Let's keep that. Let's jump in here with a much darker brush. We got that shadow there. This is going to need to be subtle as it comes around this glow. I might have to play with that glow again later. Yeah, this painting, I think, is just going to want a lot more more glazing and drying time than a lot of the ones I usually do. We're going to be catching some wake off of Aragorn's boat. That is Cali for sure, yep. I used to surf several times a week. I used to get up and go surfing before I'd go to work. And then sometimes I'd meet up with friends after work, and we'd surf until we got hungry or it got dark, too dark to see. And if there was a full moon out, we'd be out there till 9, 10 o'clock at night. It was great. Night surfing was pretty fun. Okay. This needs to be a little, that needs to be a little shallower. Probably it's a little too long. Now I've got to design this properly. We're going to see some wake from Aragorn's boat. I can't just fling paint here. I've really got to decide. Oh, I used the wrong brush. That's right, this one will work. wake there with some nice highlights on certain bits. Maybe we'll get a little bit of highlight on some of these bits. This wake might sort of go there. Let's do behind Boromir. He'll be getting some way. And oh, Aragorn's gonna have a paddle in the water about there too. Where exactly? Like here? Here? Yeah, about there. That's his paddle. Touching the water. Boromir is also going to have some. Quickly filling up all my brushes. Now what I need is a lighter purple to catch some reflection from the other direction. Reflection from the other direction. Yeah, here's his wake. Don't really see much of Legolas and Gimli's because they're just, that's going to be past there. I want this to be pretty smooth otherwise. And we are going to get to see a little bit of the boat itself reflected. That's a little too light. Give me just a little bit of brown. Oh, other way. That way. Let's see some of those. Maybe we'll even see the boat itself. I'm looking at the feed to sort of as a way to check my work. Kind of helps me see what I'm doing. Almost like looking in a mirror. And then we're going to see some reflections. Oh, it's a big old pile of paint on that thing. We are going to see some of these guys reflected in the water too. A little more red. And a little more sort of a darker green. Almost like we can see their heads in the water, like reflected up from the surface there. Because we probably would. How does my arm not get tired? It does. I could do some live Studio Ghibli painting. I have, and I will again, for sure. Yeah, I've done like 4 of them live. If you are a patron of ours, then you get to see those, because those are all online, available for our patrons only. So yeah, you can watch those on our site anytime you want to on our Patreon. So I encourage you to check that out. There we go. Whoa, way too bright. Just gotta draw some of those, the boards and the boat sort of reflected, as if we could see the boat in the water reflected. Because water is pretty much a mirror. Whatever you can see above it, you'll be able to see it in the water too. There we go. Which means we will be able to see some more of this lighter colors above these guys. Maybe a little higher here for Legolas. Yeah, that's getting better. as well. Basically seeing the reflection above their heads. As if we're looking down into a mirror, which we are. And I can start doing a little more of this. Maybe we'll see between those trees even in our little water mirror world. Put some of those oranges in there and stuff. This could be a little further over. Big ol' hunk of oily stuff coming off. Yeah, how about some orange? How about a little more red? How about a little more red? It's getting too green from other things. Haven't done Galadriel. Let's do Galadriel. Galadriel's reflection. You can't just say Galadriel. You have to say Galadriel. Is the shoot, is the water that high up? No. The water is like there, there, there. So I went too high in general with that water. See, this needs to be darker anyway. Maybe this can be some symbolism. Her reflection is like touching the shoulder of Boromir because he was the most uncomfortable there. Maybe she's trying to let the light of the elves persuade him still. That's the ticket. It's kind of a fun notion, right? Still think that's a little high. because there's the banks there, maybe there and there. That should be all right. Maybe just a tad higher. I need some subtle reflections here to start showing where the banks actually are. Some warm, glowy light coming there. So now we got water. Francis, love watching. Thanks for watching. Mikal, to use a reference. I have made a charcoal sketch that I'm using as a reference, and I've got some screenshots from the film, which I'm using just as some mood color references. I used references photos for the characters when I did those. I'm inventing a lot of this. I do use reference a lot for stuff. Just need to show where the bank is. Make sure those are actually horizontal. Go a little darker some places here. I want this to be real foggy. The chunk of paint keeps getting stuck there. Now we can sort of see a little bit of the bank. Some of that's a little too crisp. I want it to be hinted at, not super spelled out. Can lose a little bit more of it here. We see it some places and not others. A little too crisp here. Be careful I don't change that whole value range over here. Add some foliage and stuff there. And maybe we'll see a little bit of like some little tiny ones. This is a little broader here. I don't know why, just to mix it up a little bit. Maybe here too. A little more of this sort of pink. Okay, and remember guys that this piece is available as a print if you'd like one. 25% off all of our Lord of the Rings canvases right now, including this one. So please click on the link there and browse our Lord of the Rings stuff. So you can order prints of this one before it's even finished. And then we have Patreon, if you'd like to support the gallery. For every patron we get, I'm going to blow the Horn of Gondor. That's what we sort of came up with yesterday. So, yeah, if you become a patron, please comment. And then I'll make sure that Nick tells me to, and then we'll blow the Horn of Gondor. It's not a horn yet. It was just a new idea we had because I had this rubber tube that that I was using to cut apart and make some painting tools and play around with. But it works as a Horn of Gondor for now. So it's kind of silly, but then, you know, art is supposed to be fun. It's silly. And if people like it enough, and if it happens enough, well, I'll actually buy a real one. I'll get, you know, one that someone's made off Etsy or whatever, and I can use it. A mighty blast. There's our Patreon. So for even a dollar a month, you can support our gallery. We have really cool rewards for our patrons, and even for $1, I'll blow the Horn of Gondor for you. Okay, that's looking like some lovely soft water. I don't want to start doing foliage in the front until that's nice and done because I don't want to have to paint around it again. Maybe if I'm lucky I can do some light streaks coming through here. This feels like it's dry enough for me to do that. I might try that actually. Might try that before I do the foreground stuff. Let's do, actually, no, I think I like that. This could be a little darker. Where Aragorn is. And here by Boromir, I think I just need some darker sort of accents. And then as we get closer here, we'll need some dark. Some darker accents of paint. Once again, the foreground is going to be the darkest part of the whole painting. Okay, tempted to do something. Gonna go for it. Should I keep it horizontal? Or should I go this way? I'm almost leaning that way already. But then that's very, yeah, if I go the other way, that would help balance out that. All right, let's try it. Let's go for it. Yes. Nice. That adds such a great horizontal plane. shadows line up. Almost. Yeah, those long streaks can really help make water look flat. But the perspective has to be right. I'm designing water. I can do one more way back here. To make it look like it's farther. Now she looks like she's more in the distance. That looks good. Now I could even do a touch more higher for her and it reads better. I don't like that one though. That looks great. Of course, we know what I can do. Where's a little tiny brush? Put some little gentle sparkles around everywhere. And then back here, it's going to be more of this lighter, more blue color instead of yellow like in the front here. Little glistenies. Is Galadriel floating above the water? No, I'm going to put some plants in front of her. She's standing on the bank there. I mean, she probably could float on the water if she wanted to. I guess she's an elf. She can do what she wants. She's been around for how many thousands of years? I'm sure they've figured that one out by now. Yeah, I could just make it a little darker than that. Put some grasses in front of her like she's just standing on the bank. Farewell, Frodo Baggins. To you I give the light of Elendil, our most beloved star. May it be a light for you in dark places when all other lights go out. Put some subtle sort of foliage on the bank there. It has to be real soft because this is distant and I want it to look misty and stuff. Basically, the water is sort of helping to show where the bank is. That's what maybe her magic ring does. We never know what the three elf rings do. We never know what any of the rings do, really, except Saruman's. Even at the end, she says, "The time of the three rings is over." Well, what are the other two? You know, leave us hanging in the dark there. I'm realizing also I could do a couple more subtle details on like Aragorn's outfit here. He's probably got a strap going around his front or something. Yeah, nothing special. Cool, that's it. Let's take a picture of this. And again, as a patron, you get access to these progress photos that I take of the painting, so you can see how it comes together from a straight angle. You know, color's a bit more accurate. Let's do a real subtle light sort of line here behind Frodo. There we go, that makes... I suppose I could zoom in on this a little bit so you guys can see more of what I'm working on. Actually, no, it's okay because I'm about to work on the sides. I'm done. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, let's do these edges. The extreme foreground. I love the twisting of the trees. That's totally going to happen again. Let's just do the dark here. Let's get rid of this. Definitely going to want some nice dark. Green. Shit, I need this space. Save that, because I'll probably need it. Nice dark green. Green, blue. I might have to put a little bit of red into it just to get it darker. A little bit of that. I'm out of this. And a little cocktail of mediums to get a nice thick transparent paint. dries pretty quick too. Like by tomorrow it's dry enough where I can paint over it. Okay. Let's see how that works. Let's get me a nice dark brush here. We're going to do some twisties, and in general just sort of make this dark part of the trunk here. Gonna be some grasses and things. I might even leave that. That's the raw paint. That's the underpainting. I might need to put a touch on there, just a smidge. Definitely not that color though. Yeah, that's pretty good. These two together. That's a little too light. Sort of doing some bark. Real organic texture. Linda Schultz, amazing, awesome, thank you. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you want to watch more of these. I've been doing these, do videos a couple times a week actually, and we're doing a Lord of the Rings series here. I have one more I'm doing next weekend, doing a Sam carrying Frodo. So if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you don't want to miss that. Tree sort of spinning up there. I could do a couple fun things. Maybe there's like a branch coming off of this thing. This is what Bob Ross called the bravery test. Can you paint over your own scene with foreground objects, you know? sort of a fern. See, this is what's going to set us. It's going to make the distance. Oh, how's it going, Rebecca? Ongoing conflict with your family meeting. Well, I hope that resolves itself. You're welcome to have them tune in if they're. Here's the solution. Let's watch Lord of the Rings artwork. Who wouldn't want to do that? Some grasses just sort of growing here. Coming right there. So if I have to do this last. It's like almost like we're now standing on the bank watching this happen. And this makes it even distant, even more distant. Alright, I could do this too. Oh, I was going to do that afterward. Yes, I was going to do this the last bit. I'll put some leaves. Another branch coming out. Okay, well that's a good test and that's nice and dry. Do that later. So I'm going to put some light streakies happening. I mean, a lot of glowy things happening over here. I'm going to use the big guns here. And I need the overlap. Can't be afraid to overlap. There's some big old giant roots. And I was going to draw a branch. It just needs to be a little more. Need to see what I'm doing up here. It's a little too light. Shit. This cannot break my value boundary. Little bit of an opening there. Cool. Where was I on this one? A little more there. Nice. I suppose I should actually do Boromir's paddle before I go over it with paint. I still need to do Aragorn's. Let's do Aragorn's paddle while I'm here. Please make sure this is a straight line. That sucks correcting that. Okay, they got some manly oars this time, not like the little tiny paddles they had in the movie. I think just because those boats were so tiny, that was the biggest oar they could give them. Make sure that's straight. almost. Oh, damn it. A little bit of a shadow for the ore on the boat. Maybe here too, just a little bit. Ah, come on. Show a little bit of knuckle here. We'll see a little bit of that reflection of the ore. Ooh. Oh, look at that. Thanks, Luke, for sharing the, that's the one we're doing next week. I'm doing that one next weekend. Okay, where was I? Doing some more foliage. I'm just gonna put a fern right here. Maybe this is an Ethelus. Ah, kingsfoil, it's a weed. A little bit of grass here. Come on. There we go. This grass is going to also help to turn this corner, keep us in the painting. A little compositional action there. Looks like I almost overlapped the ore and not quite. There we go. Cool, and then we got this sort of encompassing enclosure of foliage. That moment is about to be more than just Sam picking up photo. It'd be good to evoke like how far they've traveled. Of course. I mean, the focus is, I don't necessarily need to show. It's not a landscape piece. It was really going to be a more character piece, more focused on them as characters in that moment of strength and loyalty versus like, here's a landscape of Mordor. You know, I wasn't really focusing on that. That would be a very different feel of a piece, and that's not what I was going for here. This is totally dry enough for me to do something fun. But I really need some clean space here. Do I want this color for anything else? At the moment, no. Can always mix more if I decide I need it. I just want this area clean. There's a small bit of okay, and this can't have any mineral spirits on it at all. Whoa. Knocking my brushes all over the place. This needs to be solvent free. So I don't dig a hole in my paint. Keep that out. Okay, this is tricky. I need to stand up for this. I suppose now you guys can't see me. See, this is like one of the rough parts about doing this. Now I have to adjust all the cameras so you guys can see me and see the painting and stuff. Okay. Gonna do some light. Gotta do this just right, or it'll suck. It's pretty much how painting goes in general, right? Down. We'll say that's gonna be that direction. A little more transparent. This is why this needed to wait to be dry. Like that needs to be way more subtle. There. Maybe one there. This is the kind of stuff you do when it's dry. Do this kind of fun stuff. sure that perspective is right. Ears a little straighter. Mm-hmm. A little more medium. A little more there. Maybe a thin one right there. This is where studying linear perspective helps for this kind of stuff. See, now there can be some fun beams. Maybe that one is like that. Maybe one hits her ears. That's a little too harsh. A little lower. One passes right in front of her. Oops, my headphones caught on my camera tripod. Let's just move that out of the way. Okay, touch more. Too much orange. Shit. A little more medium. Don't touch that dark paint, or all is lost. How about one right there? All right, let's look at that. Ooh, that's awesome. That's called years of painting linear perspective by hand. I can do a little more glowy glow here. Let's do a little more of this sky and the trees and stuff first. It just made a huge difference, right? God rays, is that what you call them? Nice. I don't know what the term is in, I mean, they just call them light rays, but I wonder if there's like a scientific term. There's a lot of terms for light things. Light diffraction is when light curves around an object and you see a glow from behind it. There's reflection and like specular quality. You probably know about specularity, having programmed a lot of light things in video games, specular highlights and stuff. There's diffusion, there's fall off, there's all kinds of stuff. I wonder what this one's called. Yeah, now we've got this enclosing foliage. So now that compositionally it's nice. And now the light, I knew that was going to help a lot too. Add a little more light to these guys. It's just barely dry enough for me to do that. A little more light sort of reflecting off of their faces. Real subtle though. Even Boromir gets some light, even though he's a jerk in the end. Well, not the very end, I guess. At one point he's a jerk, but then he's fine again. He was almost a jerk. I see your mind. You will take the ring to Sauron. You betray us. You go to the death of us all. Curse you! Curse you and all the halflings! Little glowy glow always helps. Good speak always helps. Let's see what that looks like. Looking good. Oh, that's fabulous. Oh, I might not need to do anything else with this one. It might be done. Could put a little more, try to do some mist back here in places. I can't really paint around that, it's wet. That tree branch is wet, I can't get in there. Should have done those last. Forgot about this misty stuff I was going to try to do. This one might be done. This is one of those things where now I just got to look at it. I had thought about adding some like bright leaves here and there, sort of taking some light, but I really do like this dark frame, and then it focuses your eyes on this light here. I didn't want to detract from that at all, nor break up this nice line of like dark, lighter, so I might not. Okay, so yeah, you can pre-order print of this piece, get your print, 25% off all of our prints for Lord of the Rings, and so yeah, click on the link there in your browser on whatever streaming service you're watching, and then just follow us in general if you want to see more of these painting videos that I do, like a couple times a week now. Subscribe to us on Patreon if you want to really support the gallery, and we have cool rewards for our subscribers, like first rights of refusals on originals, so that's kind of cool. You get first dibs on originals before anybody else does. And discounts on prints and stuff, and access to all of our previously recorded live streams like this. You get time-lapse videos, so you can see these later. And then what else? Access to original sketches that I've done for concepting for pieces. You can buy those originals, and those aren't available to anyone else ever. So some cool stuff. Access to those progress photos that I've been taking, which I'm going to take another one right now. That's really tough because there's a glare from behind me. When I do a high-res photo of this piece, and I'll sit down again, I put a black curtain behind me. So that I can minimize the glare. Alright, I knew this one would be a quick little extra bit. Yeah, I just need this one to sort of sink in on me. I really like where it's come though. I love the glowy quality of this translucent paint. It looks like the trees are like glowing. Here, I'll do the old camera tour so you guys can see better what that looks like. And I'll try to, I looked up this morning, I think I need to download some different software for my camera to adjust the white balance so that it's not auto adjusting. So there's a straight on shot. You can see the color is already better than what it was before. Let's see if we can get a close up on everybody here. See, the camera's adjusting the white balance. There's Boromir and Pippin and Merry. There's Legolas and Gimli. And here's Aragorn and Frodo and Sam. And I think it looks better when I imply more of the detail, even in their face. I don't need to like draw their eyeballs and their nose hairs, you know. It looks more accurately part of the painting when I don't necessarily do that. Here's all this foliage that I did. Trees, the glowy glow coming through there. That's just a lot of transparent paint. Here's Galadriel. Galadriel. Distracted. That's right. Here's some more foliage and fun stuff happening there. And again, this painting is a lot darker than that. I'll try to do that paper towel thing I did. I need to download some software to adjust the settings on my camera. That's better. So that's a lot darker. But then those brights are nice and bright too. So I can do the same thing so you can see the top here. Yeah, that's better. It's a little more green in real life. The camera showing it as too blue and purple. It's definitely more green, and the brights are brighter. So I'll have to look for some software that can maybe help me adjust the white balance on this thing. Where do I find the slot? There it is. Dropped the camera so many times trying to do that. So, okay. So I've got about a few minutes. I can clean up here. If you guys want to ask some questions, feel free. Yeah, so I'm going to sort of start cleaning up, but feel free to type some questions in the thing there, and I can answer you directly. Now that I'm not so focused on the painting. I'll sign it later when it's dry. I don't like to sign a sopping wet painting. It's hard to do because my signature is very tiny. It has a lot of detail in it because my name is so damn long. So yeah, type away a comment. Hoping I'm seeing all the comments. I know there's a couple platforms like Periscope and Picardo where I think we're still working out some bugs. So Nick, if you're watching, Nick's the moderator. If you see a comment from one of those that I don't seem to be seeing, just text me. As I just scrape away the paint. This paint, I've left it out the whole weekend since Friday afternoon, and it's still wet because it's oil, because oil is awesome. If you learn how to control the drying time, I can do quicker drying stuff like what I did up here, where in the next day or two it could be dry, you can go over it. But in the meantime, it's wet enough to push around and blend and do all kinds of fun stuff that you can't do in acrylic. But then, of course, acrylic, you guys saw me do the underpainting, where I can do layered, really cool textury stuff in minutes, when that would take me days to do in oil. So I use them both. I've painted exclusively into either, but as of recently, I've been definitely using them both. Let's see here. Okay, no questions from Periscope, just checking. I can put my paints away in this fun thing that I made. It's basically little paint cups glued to a piece of wood. Do you do the fingernail test for dryness later? I don't know what that is. I mean, I can just touch it with my fingertip and see if it's dry. That's usually what I do. I don't know what the fingernail test is, actually. Maybe it's a new technique I should learn. Yeah, usually after a day or two or whatever time has passed, I can just like barely touch it and see if it's wet. If it comes off on my finger, then it's not wet yet. And I can also tell if it's tacky. It might be dry to the touch, but I can still feel that it's wet inside, which means if I need to go over it right now, I need to be really careful I don't peel it off, because it's just skinned over, you know. So maybe the fingernail test, can you dig your fingernail and does it make a big divot, I guess? I don't know. I don't know that one. Alright, that's done. So is that. Some of the colors, there's a little nook left and I just don't save it, but the cadmiums, yeah, it's too expensive to throw that shit away. Before varnishing, I was reading that it should be firm enough that you can't make an indentation with your fingernail. Sure, that's totally true. If I'm going to varnish a piece, I guess my paint isn't typically that thick. You know, I'm not painting it like Van Gogh and Pasto. But if I'm going to, these days, if I'm going to varnish something, I spray varnish it, which, you know, you can do after like a solid week. You touch it, and you can tell it's pretty dry. You can varnish it after that much time. If your paint's not tremendously thick. If your paint is really thick, then yeah, you need to wait like 6 months or wait, you know, long enough. Otherwise, it'll crack later. But my paint's never that thick, rarely. So I'm not worried about that at all. Okay. If this was a more abstract painting, I could take globs of this stuff and just put it on rather than throwing it away. But this is a very subtle, delicate painting, so I can't really just do that. Like, here's a big blob of this paint. You know, I can't just put this in the painting. My painting is way too subtle right now just to put this big blob on there. But a cityscape, where it's more abstract, sure, I'll just take this and find some place to put it. It's kind of a fun game when you're cleaning up your palette. Or sometimes I'll take a blank wood panel and just smear it on there and sort of prime it for the next piece. if I'm in the mood. Yeah, I save all my paint in these little cups. These are like for model paints, like for doing model airplanes and cars and stuff. Super great way to save money instead of just throwing away all your paint or leaving it there to dry if you're not going to paint for a couple days. You can put it away and it'll keep for days in there. This stuff. Which Lord of the Rings piece is next? It's Sam carrying Frodo. There is, if you go to our website, you know, if you're going to buy a print, that one's listed as one of the items for sale. You can pre-order that one too, but it just shows the concept sketch. That's where I'm starting from. So that'll be also next Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And only Sunday if I need it. We'll see about that one. Yeah, then that will conclude my Lord of the Rings series. I think I'm going to pick up and do some more Harry Potter character portraits. I did the one of Dumbledore a couple weeks ago, and that one went so well. I'm like, you know what, I don't necessarily need to do a complex, intricate story concept for each painting. What if I just do a character portrait? So, and like, oh, that opens up the doors for so many different themes that I could do that for. For Lord of the Rings, for Star Wars. You know, just do a portrait of the character. In a really, you know, cool, stylized, painterly kind of way. So that's what's going to happen. I think I'm going to start doing a bunch of those same sized 15 by 20 inches, you know, the oil on wood panel, and then the same ratio. So it's going to be kind of a series of a bunch of these. That same sort of vibe of a piece. I'm going to move this up a little bit so I don't accidentally splash mineral spirits on it as I'm cleaning my brushes. So no new patrons today. I was going to blow the horn of Gondor. I guess I won't. And if you did, then just comment and let me know, and I'll do it for you right now. Or if you did yesterday and I didn't see it, just comment. And I will blow the horn of Gondor for you. That's our new stupid shtick to get people to subscribe to us on Patreon. On behalf of the painting commissioner, what does that mean? Mean you want me just to blow the horn of Gondor for you? Is that what you're asking? I think. I really need to actually buy a horn now instead of using this stupid rubber tube that I found, that using for cutting apart and building something. I'm gonna wait for you to respond. I wanna hear it. You get the recording. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So okay. So this is what happens. I'll do it for Rebecca then. If you've subscribed to us on Patreon, for every new subscriber, I need to actually buy a horn. But I found this. This is a rubber tube that I had cut slices of to make little paint rollers with. And I sort of had this leftover piece. I was cleaning out the corner. But I discovered that it's the Horn of Gondor! So there we go. So, my girlfriend upstairs was like, what the hell was that? So for every new patron we get, I'll blow this stupid rubber thing like it's the Horn of Gondor. That was for Rebecca, because she commissioned these Lord of the Rings pieces. But if it actually starts, people like it, I'll buy a real Horn of Gondor and I'll blow it every time we get a new patron on our Patreon. So check out our Patreon. It's Amazing Art Expo. Patreon.com/AmazingArtExpo. It's our new gallery project, and for every new, if you subscribe, then just comment here, and I'll do a horn blow for you. Yep, that's how awesome we are. I remember once I was at a pool party with some friends, and they have those fun noodles. You know those floaty noodle things? Well, turns out you can blow the Horn of Gondor in those things too. It's pretty funny. I play trombone. I used to play in high school, and I still play in a group now and then. So, I have the wind instrument. I can do the buzz as if I'm playing a wind instrument, like a brass instrument. So, works pretty well. Also the impressions. Oh yeah, the impressions are free. You get those just by watching. Okay, I'm going to go to the sink and wash these better. Okay, I think that'll about do it for today then. So thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to us here so you can watch more painting videos. There's a fly flying around my studio now. Get out of here, fly. Shoot! You can pre-order prints of this piece, as well as you can order prints of any of our other Lord of the Rings and any of our other titles. We have Star Wars, Marvel, Harry Potter, Alice in Wonderland, DC, Game of Thrones, and of course we have 9 Lord of the Rings paintings. Next week will be the 10th one. You can order any of those. We have 25% off all our Lord of the Rings prints right now, so please click on the link in your browser. Whatever streaming service you're watching, there should be a link there. Subscribe to us on Patreon. That'll help us out, and you can get some cool benefits from that, VIP stuff. And then I'm Christopher Clark, so you can follow me online. Christopher Clark Art is my Instagram and Facebook and all the other hashtags. Yeah, cool guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll do a stream this week sometime of another fine art piece of whatever I'm doing, a figure or something. And then next Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be another Lord of the Rings piece. So awesome, guys. Thanks for watching, and catch you later.